And what up everybody, Anime Junkie, and welcome to part 8 to What If Deku Was a Villain, and now let's get to the intro.
I'm not the one you wanna fuck with. Late nights messing up my sleep, so I'm flustered. Taking out aggression with my pen because I trust it. Fighting, trying to get myself a lamb color cuss for the game. Leave him hanging by his chain. Click bang, feeling rage, feeling fire in my brain, feeling sane. And it's slowly feeling flames with the fire from my brain. Bringing more, please still, no glory.
Okay guys, last time we left off with a really dark turn. I just forgot how dark I left it until I watched the previous part, and I realized, and I didn't really know what to do after that, so I had to do a little bit of thinking to basically think up what to do next. So I did figure out what to do next and did an exciting turn on it. So Deku and every other villain are basically getting ready. They're basically bringing their army together for a full-scale attack on Japan. Basically, their main goal is to basically go to the prism, or the all prism, where all the villains are basically taken care of, breaking them out, basically doing a huge break or prison breakout arc, and basically releasing them entire on the city. So the heroes basically have to go on 100% have to basically take out as many villains as possible. And remember, this is villains that have been trapped for like about, you might even say 50 years. No, 50 years is too much. 20 years, and all of that stuff. So basically, villains that have basically fought All Might before, and all the other villains and all the other heroes. So this is like a full-scale, basically giant attack. Because remember, in Japan, since All Might lives there, there's only a 6% of villains in Japan, and in every other country is every other country there's like 20% of villain activity. So the reason why All Might exists in Japan is because he was born there and stuff like that, and his master was there, and he's the #1 hero over there. So in other countries there's like 20% of villain rates and all that stuff. So imagine all the villains that were trapped when Japan was at 20%, they all come back out, and basically Japan will probably already have like 40%, 50%, or maybe even larger numbers of villains inside of Japan. And remember, this type of villains, or this amount of villains hasn't really come out until or before All Might actually existed. And All Might was actually he worked as a pro hero for a really long time. He's really old, and he worked for a long time. So not only did he get weak, I mean, he's barely able to contain his power right now, and he has to find a new successor immediately. So Deku already knows this, because All Might's next successor was actually going to be Mirio. So instead of actually creating another problem like All Might's, whenever Mirio actually gets the power, we need to kill him right on the spot and basically destroy one for all. So let's head to a meeting with All Might, Gran Torino, and all the other basically pro heroes across the world. Basically have a meeting, and they basically talk about who should be the next successor of All Might. Gran Torino actually brings up this point. It's like, whoever All Might chooses will be in danger. You're basically putting the next successor in immediate danger, because the person who's basically in charge of All For One now, who is All For One now, is basically knows everything about UA, because everybody suspects, because the final conclusion that UA actually had was Izuku Midoriya was actually the traitor, and he is also All For One. He also basically brings up Izuku's past. He's like, okay, he was quirkless as a kid, but he went missing a long time ago after his mother was killed by a villain, and it seems like he basically had a deep hatred for heroes, and maybe All For One found him and gave him his quirk, because they're like, if he was quirkless, that doesn't really matter in All For One's case, because he can give anyone a quirk. So basically Gran Torino basically tells All Might, it's like, you can't choose Mirio because you'll be putting him in danger by basically giving every single person, and Izuku Midoriya already knows that the next successor that you're going to choose is going to be Mirio, because he's the most likely to become the next #1, just like you. So this is actually, I didn't actually explain the time that this is going on. This is actually a week later, because everything happened, like the fight happened, that was like a day after the forest training camp between All Might and All For One. Then All For One was basically captured, and he released All For One's like little red and black strip towards Deku's house, and basically he gets one for all, and he basically is now one for all. Then this meeting is actually happening a week after that. So basically they have enough time to gather enough forces to basically raid Night-Eye's agency. Nighteye doesn't really see this coming because he doesn't really know what's gonna happen, and he doesn't really know that any villains are actually gonna be targeting him anytime soon, because nothing's gonna happen. I mean, he still hasn't got the information that Izuku Midoriya was the traitor, so he doesn't really know that the traitor actually is All For One now, who's in charge of the entire villain organization across the world. No, not across the world, in Japan, and maybe in the future it's across the world. So basically, an entire team of villains, or entire army of villains, are basically surrounding Night-Eye's agency and basically attack it at all once. All the heroes inside of the agency were basically caught off guard, and basically Mirio gets attacked. They're basically fighting Mirio, but end up basically killing Mirio, Nighteye also, and all the other agencies. And there's only one spy, which is the Bubble Girl. Or you probably won't really, you probably do if you watched like the last few minutes of season 3 before it ended. It was that Bubble Girl which basically went to Nighteye to inform her that the enemy's moving and stuff. So that Bubble Girl basically goes to the meeting that's happening with All Might and basically tell him Mirio, Nighteye, and everyone else in the agency of Nighteye is basically killed by the villains. And All Might and Gran Torino were basically shocked. Gran Torino was like, okay, I didn't expect them to basically make a move so quickly, but I knew this was gonna happen. And basically All Might basically powers up and basically slams the desk and completely breaking it. He's like, damn it, we were too late. And then he also gets the news that Tomura Shigaraki is actually the grandson of his master, and he's like, every single thing that All For One did, he's put every single thing against us. Not only taking Mirio's life, Night-Eye's life, and Izuku Midoriya would have been a good candidate before his all change of that stuff, but he took 2, maybe even 3 great heroes from the world. So Deku's final plan is basically really near, but right now he has to do something really amazing right now. So he's actually gonna basically go and have a meeting with Overhaul, I think that's what his name is, but he's the leader of one of the Yakuza gangs who's actually developing a serum, and this is a spoiler, so yeah, if you don't really want to know, but I think season 4 is basically coming out, so I think it's gonna be fine. So basically he's basically getting a serum that basically destroys and breaks quirks and completely. Right now it's not perfected. It can only basically stop someone from using their quirk for only like 10 hours or something. But then he's having a meeting. He's basically making a deal with Overhaul. He's like, I share the same goal as you, because this is a complete lie. But he's like, I share the same goal as you. I want to basically delete quirks from society. And basically I also have that power. I have the power to take people's quirks, and I've been doing that ever since. And Overhaul basically believes him because his power is true. But he also explains the only reason he hasn't taken any of his people's quirks is because he needs his people to basically allow him to bring other people and bring this dream to a reality. And basically Overhaul agrees to basically partnership with him, and basically the same doctor that All For One was basically getting treated by, he sends him over to Overhaul's basically agency, and not agency or area, but to help him basically develop the anti-quirk serum. So yeah, and this way he can also basically keep an eye on Overhaul so he doesn't do anything stupid. And he also finds out that there's a basically girl who has the power to basically rewind stuff, and he knows he needs that power. He's gonna get that girl's power and also Overhaul's power. So it's been a few weeks. There has been increased percentage of villain attacks. It's gone up to like 20%, way more. It's gone up like 14%, so it's 20% now, and it's equal to the entire world. Everybody's experienced what the other countries are actually feeling in their streets now. There's more villain attacks. Heroes are basically there's like a hero death every single day. 6 hero deaths every single day, and the heroes population is going down. People are not liking heroes because they're not doing their jobs, and the society is completely plunging into darkness. Everybody's wondering where All Might is, and everybody just thinks, it's like, what if All Might basically used his entire power after that fight that they had, people just like call it on the internet to the end of the beginning, or the end of the end or something. So yeah, wait, not the end of the end, but it's the beginning of the end. And then social media sites are basically going up of villains basically having their own website, and they're basically promoting everything, their thoughts, they're basically things, and Overhaul also has a site, and basically him saying that, oh, quirks, when they existed, this is the exact problem that they created a dark place, they created villains and all this stuff, because quirks are the things to basically are the problem here. So that's why join ours and basically give us money on this basically Patreon or stuff, and basically give us money to create this serum, and we can erase quirks forever. So it's just online codes. That's what the villains are doing. And I know, guys, I'm saying basically a lot in this what if. I'm just really excited for this. So yeah, I'm sorry if you get annoyed by it, but sorry, I'm not using a script, so yeah. And I'm probably never gonna use one until I get my animations done. I am still working on the animations. I don't know, something, my pen for the animation thing, it's just broken. It doesn't really connect to the thing anymore. I just have like one animation halfway done. Not halfway, I'm still like far away, still haven't finished yet, but yeah, I'm basically buying a new one. I said basically again, damn it. Anyways, so let's continue. Actually, never mind, I'll basically do the overall attack and maybe a little bit of the prison break activity in the next one, or in the next part. And I hope you guys like, because it really does help the channel. If you do like this dark turn that I'm doing with this what if Deku was a villain, hope you guys like it, and make sure to hit the bell icon, because you'll get notified of the next part and the other what if series that I do. Make sure to subscribe to basically be a part of the family. And now, Anime Junkie out.